city stand.
64 years of embezzlement on the high rate of public fund.
Absolutely nothing.
64 years of lack of accountability.
Can we still say the same thing that we are one if the oil in the south dries up today?
I go speak about my man to go punish 10 times.
Welcome to another edition of City Stand. I'm Michael Adekule. It's good to see everyone today on this program. Thank you so much for joining us. Our viewers in the United States, viewers in UK, South Africa, China, Japan, Spain, Germany, Italy, all over the world. We say thank you so much for joining us on today's program. All right, it's the 64th anniversary of Nigeria, 64th Independence Day anniversary in Nigeria, and all over the world. We have Nigerians celebrating on a low key amidst inflation, hardship, hunger in Nigeria. Nigerians are still thankful and appreciative of what God has done for them. All right, let's quickly see what the Senate President Godswill Akpabio is saying concerning this 64th year independence. Of course, over the weekend we had our political leaders, giving thanks to God for the unity of this country, for the existence of Nigeria. And let's quickly see what is on papers this morning concerning this Independence Day in Nigeria. The president is speaking. Some other politicians are also speaking concerning this independence. And of course, we have Nigerians reacting to this. What are they saying? There is hunger in the land, there is inflation, insecurity, and all of that. But all together, we're discussing this morning. This day newspaper at the newsstand was this day saying concerning Independence Day in Nigeria. The Senate President on the front page of this day newspaper, written boldly, what is Senate President Akpabio saying at the newsstand 64th anniversary? Despite bumpy days, nation will prevail, says Godswill Akpabio. Despite bumpy days, nation, that's Nigeria, will prevail, says the Senate President of the country, Godswill Akpabio. Let's quickly look at other stories. Following the major headline on the front page of this day newspaper, declares Tinubu's dedication inspirational. Senate President Akpabio declares Tinubu's dedication is inspirational. That's what he had said here. Insists Southeast not marginalized. Insists Southeast not marginalized, which means there's no marginalization as regards the southeastern part of the country. Imo, Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, we are all one. That's what the Senate President Akpabio is saying. SGF urges Obasanjo to continue to speak in support of national unity existence. States Nigeria will be most prosperous under current administration. Wow. Nigeria will be most prosperous under Tinubu's administration. That is what we have on this paper this morning. Let's see how that will happen. We pray for better days in this country. We pray for the unity of Nigeria. We pray for the progress of Nigeria, and that's what our political leaders are also praying for. Nigeria will prevail. That's what the Senate President is saying. Nigeria will prevail despite bumpy days. To the next one on page 5 of this day newspaper, federal government hands over 64 CNG buses to labor students. Federal government hands over 64 CNG buses to the Nigeria Labour Congress students. Cardoso, World Bank IMF brainstorm to craft new strategies for inclusive growth in Africa. This is on the front page of this same paper, this day newspaper. To the next one, The Nation. Was The Nation saying this morning to us? The Nation newspaper with a boldly written headline: $175 million investment in CNG to end reliance on petrol. 700 buses expected. Labour student FCT gets 64 to mark nation's independence. It's major step to fight inflation, says Edun. Down the paper, foreign investors' portfolios hit 5-year high at 655.5 billion naira. On to the next one. On page 10 of the Nation newspaper, police tighten security in Lagos over October 1 protest threats. Police tighten security in Lagos over October 1 protest threat. 40% of electricity users now have 20 hours supply, says Adilabu. All right, thank you so much for joining us on the headlines. Let's quickly join our respondents for more analysis. I'll be right back. Over the weekend, our political leaders were in church for Thanksgiving service ahead of the Independence Day. So happy Independence Day to
Yeah,
you.
happy Independence Day to us as Nigerians. Happy Independence Day to Nigerians all across the world. We thank God for how far He has brought us.
All right, we thank God for how far He has brought us, but we appreciative of what this administration has done in the last few months. Let me use months. Tinubu celebrated the first independence, that was in 2023, October 1st. This is another year, 2024, is celebrating another independence with Nigerians. What record has Z to show that he has done well for Nigerians?
I think nothing much to really applaud when it comes to tangible things that ought to have been in place. And when I say that, I'm not really particular about this current administration. Of course, cut across every leader that has been in the saddle of our country since independence. If we look at how the level of resources that is in our country, both in human, natural resources, and all of that, vis-a-vis the level of development that we've seen, I think we have not done well as a people. And we must look ourselves in the face and admit that we have not done well as a nation. In terms of if we should roll out the drums to celebrate independence tomorrow, I think it should call for sober reflection. But my pain is that we've had this sober reflection for too long,
For many
despite the
years.
fact that we've been having low key celebration. Okay, this is not the time to pop champagne, as it were. Let's just retrospect on things and all of that. I observe that we have learned nothing and we have forgotten nothing. It's as if our leaders they are just marking time rather than working to ensure that uh, things get improved in subsequent administrations and all of that. So, as a nation, I think we have not done well. Our leaders have not done much. If we are going to look at it based on the level of resources that is in our nation, and I think it calls for questioning. We continue to ask questions. We will continue to demand from our leaders to do the right thing and move this nation from where it is now to where it ought to be.
I think we need to pop champagne. Champagne, sorry. I think we need to pop champagne over the 64 CNG buses that are on ground to celebrate this year's independence. Although we are expecting about 700 CNG powered buses, don't you think it's worth celebrating, Michael?
Michael,
64 years
if
of
you
independence.
if you put 700 CNG buses only in Lagos, you won't even feel it. And I'm not trying to downplay what the government is doing. See, we just scratch the surface. Most of the time, that's what we do. Just scratch a matter at the surface, and we just leave it there, thinking that we have done anything. What is 64 CNG buses? What are we going to be applauding over for CNG buses? Absolutely nothing. You cannot put that. You cannot put 700 buses in Lagos and you will feel anything. You won't feel it in any way. We are talking about ensuring that the cost of living drops to some extent. This harsh uh, heavy weight that is on Nigerians is there to be relieved of it. And I think that is what government should be talking to Nigerians about. Okay, has that brought down the price? I mean, the cost of transportation.
Or the cost of living in the country.
Has that brought down the cost of? Don't forget, if you are dealing with transportation, the cost of transportation has direct bearing on food because food has to be moved from one point to another. You get the point. So, government should not turn to a laughing stock by the way they comport themselves and be launching 64 CNG buses. So, what has that translated into? The cost of transportation is over has doubled now as we speak, Michael. And I mean, how will people cope with that?
Would you say it's advisable to protest on the day we are marking our 64 year of independence? And
By
will this protest hold waters?
Okay, by law, there are no stipulated time to protest. Protest supposed to be a right. Uh, it's just an expression of your feelings. In this case, your displeasure over the activities of government, and there shouldn't be a particular time that it can be done as long as it is done peacefully. And I think that is the underlining word. Should be done peacefully. People must be allowed to express themselves. Uh, you know, they say that where the shoes know where it pinches. You cannot beat a child and again say this is how you should cry or trying to moderate the cry and all of that. So Nigerians have every right to express themselves, be it on an Independence Day. I mean, it's an ideal day to express yourself. That after 64 years, if you see a 64-year-old man that is still putting on baby pampers, I know there are adult pampers, so that I'm specific about baby pampers at 64. Baby diaper, not pamper is the name of the brand. Baby diaper at 64, and I think it's cause for question. Protest is a right. People must be allowed to do so as long as it is done peacefully and
Within the
within the
ambit
ambience
of
of
the
the law.
law. Well, now, before I let you go, let's quickly move back to that CNG buses again. Now, will this end reliance on petrol if fully circulated? I repeat, will it end the reliance or our reliance on petrol if fully circulated and implemented?
Of course, that is what it's meant to achieve. If if nothing goes wrong and if the pace at which they are working presently is increased and all of that, that is what the whole thing meant to culminate into. To reduce the demand for petrol, so that we have alternatives to as to fuel for our vehicle. So if it is done properly, if the handlers of that project are not distracted and the whole thing, and people respond. You know, that's another thing for people to equally respond to it. I don't know how many vehicle owners that are willing to get converted from petrol to gas and all of that. So a lot of all those factors, if everything went on as planned, it's meant to reduce the quests for the demands. It's meant to reduce the demand for petrol, so that I mean, ultimately, the price of things should just come down. That is if it doesn't achieve that, then it's a waste of time. If the entire CNG project does not translate into reduction in the cost of transportation, which will invariably have a ripple effect on the price of food and every other commodities like that, then it's a waste of time.
All right, before I let you go, we said earlier on that the securities have been tightened, in Lagos. But beside that, even out of Lagos State, both at the federal level and state level, securities have been tightened everywhere because of this protest called Fearless that will be taking place tomorrow. Now, what advice would you be giving to the protesters that will be going out to demonstrate tomorrow? It is their right,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them? Because whether we like it or not, some of them will still indulge in looting. Some of them will still contravene the law. And you said everything should be done within the ambit of the law. Now, what advice would you give to them?
So that the uh, job of security agencies is to give cover to protests, as we see in developed times. Uh, should there be a situation where people want to deviate from the norms and start getting involved in criminal activities in the under the cover of a protest, then that is why security agencies must always be on ground to address. That is their job, to address such people. Their job is never to stop a protest, but to address everyone that want to deviate from the norms and turn the entire thing to a criminal act.
And for those that engage in clamping down on protesters, what advice you give to them?
You know, the earlier they understand, I think the better for such overzealous security agents. The world is now a global village. People look at you and they see the way you are handling your citizens. We see protests in very developed countries. We see how, even in the face of provocations, we see how it's been handled and all of that. So our security agencies must grow. Let me put it that way. Must get matured to the point that they can handle protests very maturely without trying to show unnecessary force on armless protesters.
For those calling for secession in the country, don't you think it is an opportunity for Nigeria, for the Nigerian government to call them together, have a roundtable discussion, and see to their plight?
Of course, it is. I absolutely agree with you to that point, that everyone calling for cessation, as long as such call is not a crime in our books as of today. I am not aware that such call is a crime, only that it has procedures. So I admonish government to talk to such individuals, as long as they are peaceful people, as long as they are not taking laws into their hands, as long as they are not engaging government uh, in uh, in uh, in picking up arms and all of that in an unlawful manner, so to speak. So why not? They can be engaged constructively, and I see, because at the end of the day, it is always advisable to allow things to happen naturally than to happen forcefully. What is the essence of binding a people together and there is no movement? Who says that people cannot be allowed to go and live their lives what is it? What is the need? You know, I have always made a point, Michael. We are simply claiming to be one, and that is the truth. In my estimation, we are not. Uh, the good books, the good book, the Bible says that can two work together except they agree. Amos 3:3. Agreement is the basis of working together. If you and I cannot agree, how can we work together? So it is even in the best interest of our nation to begin to look at, are we really one? Question it. There is nothing sacrosanct about that subject that people are shying away from. You are shying away from it, yet uh, the indicators shows that you are heading towards that path. And so which one makes a lot of sense? You don't want to talk about it, yet the factors on ground shows that you are heading towards that path. See the level of polarization that we have around. Nigeria is heavily polarized across religious line, across ethnic line, across all of those lines. So talking about it is more healthy, so that people understand themselves the more and take a decision. Okay, I think I will be fine staying on my own and all of that. It shouldn't be an issue as long as the right procedure is done. Some of these
Agitators.
forceful, no, no,
Okay.
forceful binding together that I'm seeing, most of it are based on selfish motive. I love you, we are one. I hope it is not because we still have oil in the south. Our oneness, I can only hope that, can we still say the same thing if the oil dries up today? Can we still say the same thing, that we are one, if the oil in the south dries up today? I think it's a rhetorical question.
All right, thank you so much, Michael.
Always a
I need
pleasure,
to let
Mike.
you go. All
Thank
right, thank you. All right, I have Oluwawan of Ogbaland with me at the stand this morning. Good morning, Oluwawan.
Oh, good morning. It's nice to see you, everyone.
Wow. It's
It's
been a while.
long time. Yeah, yes. We have to thank God for everything. First of all, my viewers, good morning to everybody in Nigeria and diaspora. So we are the sons of the living God. So we are Nigeria, but we must occupy and occupy and follow them live accordingly. Because tomorrow is our independence.
Yeah, 64 years. Oluwawan
64,
of Ogbaland.
you see,
A
we-
man or a woman of 64
yeah,
years of
it's
age,
not today. It's not today.
Wow.
And you can see where we are. See, it's
where
like-
we are, where we are coming from, where we are presently.
Yeah. See, that's what we are trying to let them know.
What does the future hold?
According to the language we are seeing on the writing on the blackboard, the handwriting on the wall, the future can only hold if the men in the corridor of power change their hearts. Change their heart from the language they are doing. The language they are doing in Nigeria is that they don't have future. There's no future. That's why I say what you have to undo to make ends meet. It's bad. To change the characteristic of living here. Then we'll see the future bright. Can you imagine right from day one to today? There is no meaningful things. All we hear is the packing money, trillions, billions. Can we be hearing that one every day? It's not possible.
64 years of independence, inflation. 64
Imagine
years of independence,
wickedly,
insecurity. 64 years of
okay,
independence,
where we
hunger
imagine all those things negative
at 64.
at 64. Okay, when you are now going to 100, that means the nation will be dead. That's why I say they should change their characteristic of thinking. Their mindset should have God 85% or 80%. Then we see the reality of what God has planted in this land. It's a glorious land. But the people managing it, they are no humanity enough. They are no humanity enough. That's why you see somebody say, you see, for what it concern Nigeria, what it concern me. And they are in Nigeria, nobody the way they chop money. It's truth. Because we're supposed to be celebrating. The majority are not celebrating. They are not happy with the system.
Things are not going the right way. People have that right to
Yeah,
call for division
yes,
of a country.
because they want
Because
to. They
at
want to.
64, we are not,
They want to.
Nigerians are not enjoying
Yes,
dividends of
yeah.
democracy.
The unity is not there. So that's why people are agitating to separation, to live another life entirely, to start their own. Because within us here, it's not good enough.
Can we fault them for doing it?
They are
Calling for
100%
division, for
right.
separation?
No, let us be frank, they are right. If me and you dey together, if you don't take one the language no pure, everybody have to go. Because we are ripe enough, you understand? We are not a kid, we know what is bad and what is good and what is ugly. So we have to choose.
What advice would you give to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
See, what advice I will give to the
Celebrated
president
under his leadership.
see, let us first of all, no matter the situation, what's go up must come down. Let us thank God that keeping us together tonight, keeping us alive, because I know many has gone. But the advice for the president, they should rethink the policy of what is facing Nigeria. Nigeria is not really happy enough. Understand? See, if you ask for money now, you want to run away. You want to run away. And how much to run away? Is it 1 naira? Okay, how did you live here? It's not possible. So why things now high? See, we are not the only country on this earth. So we are big enough. We have the mineral resources to believe. So let the president check his cabinet and check his manifolds. See, Nigeria is not happy with him 100%, including me. I'm not happy with the president. Because you see, it's like every day you hear story that you're supposed to hear story yesterday 100, maybe today you go hear like say it don't reduce to 60. You will be happy. But now you hear say don't reduce to 150. How will you be happy? Who is the head? Him is the head. He carried the responsibility. The all blame is on his desk. So he should change his attitude and change his people that are surrounding him, because Nigeria is suffering. Nigeria is hungry. Nigeria is homeless. Nigeria is jobless. Hey! Carry that woman get up round, they look am, Mungun. Ah, they look am. If I don't get am, no carry get up, say, what be night just for? See, you are a Mungu. I know judge, I somebody carry get up, that up. You dey mad. Ah, what do they talk now? What do you now you talk to? Say first one don't understand. Say what they don't carry get up. I'm not supposed to talk like that. How I go talk? But they don't carry get up. You are a madman. Ah, I go speak to help man. I don't go punish you 10 times. Back by like guy. President front of your president, don't go carry get up. They look am. Ah, when you talk like a book, get away for here, John. You are fucking book.
Now that's the way don't do
Get away.
Calm down.
I don't know.
They just in here. The thing just happened and the thing man
Who are cause? I don't cause
Why
anybody.
they cost me like this?
Why they tell me say I'm not supposed to tell them? Say me they carry am.
Why you go talk that kind of sense?
I go say it 10 times.
That thing wey they think I go
64 years of independence. This is where Nigeria. 64 years of independence, about 64 CNG buses rolled out. 64 years of independence, we now have the implementation of 70,000 naira minimum wage for Nigerian workers. Isn't it worth celebrating, Raphael?
It doesn't worth it. 64 years of hunger, 64 years of hardship, economic hardship, 64 years of idiocy, 64 years of embezzlement on the high rate of public funds, 64 years of lack of accountability, 64 years of economic instability, 64 years of, let me tell you, of many things, vices in the Nigerian political system. 64 years of confusion, economic, economic, political confusion. Everything is wrong with Nigeria at 64. Augustine G. Bus rolled how many?
64.
64 a number.
64 to mark 64 years.
Thank you so much. Check the cost of the yacht, Tinubu bus. Check the cost of that yacht. Check the cost of SUV, Toyota, whatever they bought for the whole lawmakers. Check the cost of the Camry, 35 in number, purchased by CBN managing directors, board of directors. Check the cost of those 34 Camrys. Each is 185 million naira. Okay, check the cost of the bulletproof car buy by Yemi Kodoso and his deputy. Oga, they secure how many? 4 of them. Yes. 5 of them. 2 billion naira. 10. Oga, check it. What is an achievement over CNG bus? Is not CNG bus a technology of the white man? What is it that Nigeria has achieved so far? Tell me. In terms of IT technology, in terms of what? Human resources, is there anybody that will tell you that federal government has sponsored him on his research he started to end that research and come out with good results? What is it that federal government has done for you? And Mike, you keep on paying taxes. Anytime you transfer money into another person's account, you are paying federal government. You keep on paying value added tax. Anytime you pay your genuine utility bill, you are paying federal government. We have been feeding Nigerian government since 1960, 1st October to date. The Nigerians are feeding the government of now, because social federal agencies, those personnel, those public office holders, you and I, we are paying them, we are feeding them, they are extorting from us. Okay, how are you? Why are Nigerians looking at federal government of Nigeria from that kind of perspective? CNG buses. Okay, talk about railway line from Lagos to Ibadan. Talk about that one now, achievement. Okay, Nigeria is supposed to be among the third world country if our resources well harnessed. They are not harnessing our resources. The public fund, they are siphoning it on alarming rate. Let me tell you, they are trying to investigate the chairman of EFCC, Olukoyede, over 15 billion bribe allegation. By the way, is it only Olukoyede? What about Mago? Do you know how much Mago stole? The former EFCC boss. Do you know how much Lamode Ibrahim stole? Is it only Olukoyede that are going to investigate? Simply because it's from southern Nigeria. See, let me tell you, have they investigated so far how much the immediate past First Lady of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, do you know how much that woman stacked in her bank in UAE? Bank account, foreign account. Okay, we are celebrating International Stealing, 64 years ITT. They are busy transferring our money laundering, laundering money from Nigeria to USA, to UAE, to Europe. Laundering of money by public office holders on daily basis. You and I, we are the one feeding Nigeria. We have not benefited anything. See, by me asking me this kind of question is highly provocative to me, because I know that I've never benefited free education up to federal universities from Nigeria. We suffer hard in this country for 64 years. In fact, they're supposed to mark disintegration of Nigeria comes 1st October. Nigeria is supposed to divide. Mike, the right thing to do now is that 1st October, let everybody go home, go his home. Because we are just fighting ourselves for nothing. Some persons are killing themselves over regionalism. That is the best. Hausa stole your own. Hausa said no. Certain senators, they agree on regionalism. Why is it that Fulani should be constituting trouble, nuisance in Nigeria? And we are the guests, their hosts. Our guests, Fulani, our visitors. If it matters most, let us open our door. Fulani, go! Where you have your back to where you come from. Let us understand ourselves so well. See, CNG bus, I don't care. CNG, only, how many numbers? 75, or it says 75.
Don't you think it will reduce our reliance on petrol?
No. Okay,
because we're still expecting about 700 buses.
Yeah, it's going to crumble Nigeria economy more. This is a country whose economy, economic reliance, is based on one sector. That's oil. Very, very monolithic. I mean, our economy. The money is coming from one angle. We've never even exploited half of what we have on our land. I mean, in terms of agriculture, we don't depend on agriculture anymore. We are just relying on only the black gold, crude oil.
It's been a good day at the newsstand. Really appreciate everyone who joined us today on City Stand. Michael Adekunle is signing out. But before I do that, please subscribe on the channel. Very, very important. Please subscribe on the channel. Share the video. Comment in the comment section to air your own views. And also like the video. Please do do that for us, I would really appreciate that. Extend it, propagate it, let people know about City Stand. On this note, I say goodbye to you, and I wish you a happy independence. Of course, the president has told you to celebrate it on a low key. Please make sure you celebrate on a low key. I'm going to celebrate mine as well on a low key. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Goodbye.